dark of the night, whispers of deceit.
Shadows dance on the walls.
Secrets they repeat. A shadowed figure
with eyes full of light.
Hiding truths in the shadows where no one dares to pry. Uncover the truth, let the lies come undone. Peel back the layers until the light is shown. Uncover the truth, let the shadows run. Break free from the chains and find the sun. Uncover the truth in the dead of the night, where secrets lie hidden like a whispered bite. Uncover the truth in the dim of the light, where betrayals take root in the heart of the fight. In the rain-soaked streets, under the moon's pale light, a crime unfolds with a twisted, sinister might. A knife in the dark, a scream that rings clear. Betrayal's cold hand in the heart of the deer. Through the fog and the mist, the truth we must see. In the shadows we find the answers we need. Uncover the truth, let the light come undone. Peel back the layers until the light is shown. Uncover the truth, let the shadows run. Break free from the chains and find the sun. Uncover the truth in the dead of the night.
Uncover.
Oh my God!
Song.
Pat Benatar. She just has an amazing voice.
our AI Pat Benatar. That's the best theme song by far, I think.
It is. I love it. I listen to it before I go to bed every night. This is Bloodlines and Betrayal. I am your host, the best podcast host in the universe, Steve Cully, and we have a better feeling, clean shaven, looking like he's 20 years younger, Dave Schumann, the coach.
I'm still recovering, but I'm getting better.
He looks like he's ready for the club. He could go to the club and just walk out with 10 girls. He would just dominate. Yeah, he would dominate.
They would say, what's this old man doing in here?
No, old man doing in here. Well, I think we have to start with last night. The FBI had a press conference on Fox, which revealed a college basketball point shaving scheme that involved more than 39 players on 17 Division I teams. It resulted in dozens of games in the previous 2 seasons being fixed by a gambling ring that included a former NBA player, according to the federal indictment that was unsealed Thursday in the Eastern District of Pennsylvania. 20 of the 26 defendants played college basketball during the 2023-24 season and the 24-25 season. 4 of the players charged, Simon Cottle, Carlos Hart, Carmaine Shell, Omar Qureshi, have played for their current teams in the past week. This is just unbelievable to me. The allegations against Hart, Shell, and Qureshi stem from their previous school, while Cottle's alleged incident occurred in 2023-2024. None of the allegations against them were from this season. So the schools involved, first of all, really stand out to me. So the schools named in the indictment: Abilene Christian, Alabama State, Buffalo, Coppin State, DePaul, Eastern Michigan, Fordham, which shocked me, Kennesaw State, LaSalle, New Orleans, Nicholls State, a Division III school. I thought I didn't know they were.
Oh no, Nicholls State. There's 2 of them. The one in
okay,
the one
so
down in Louisiana is Division I.
All right, so it's not Coach Marino's school. All right, North Carolina A&T.
I think it's Massachusetts.
Yes, that's what I was thinking. North Carolina A&T, which is an HBCU, Northwestern State, Robert Morris, St. Louis, Southern Miss, and the largest, most successful being Tulane. So, again, Cottle is a good player. The Conference USA preseason player of the year for Kennesaw State is averaging a team high 20.2 points a game this season. He has scored 21 points, including 5 of the final 8 points of the game in the Owls win over FIU on Wednesday. And authorities describe the 5 defendants as fixers who recruited players to participate in the scheme and offered bribes ranging from 10 grand to 30 grand to intentionally underperform. The bettors then won millions of dollars in wagers on the fixed games, according to prosecutors. At least 2 of the defendants, Shane Hennon and Marvis Fairley, were also charged in federal indictments in the Eastern District of New York, centered on gambling schemes in the NBA. 3 of the other alleged fixers. What? Oh, had connections in college basketball. The defendants are charged with bribery and sporting contests, conspiracy to commit wire fraud because it crosses state lines. The alleged fixers are also charged with additional counts of wire fraud. Bribery charges carry a maximum sentence of 5 years. The fraud charges carry a maximum sentence of up to 20 years. Now, Dave, I will go back to you. I think the NCAA opened Pandora's box when they allowed college players to bet on pro sports. I thought that was the first thing. But we have seen more gambling scandals in the last year than we have in the last 40. I mean, besides like Pete Rose, like nothing really has happened. And now it's becoming more prevalent than ever because money is just allowed to be thrown around. Players are being paid. They have the money. And if they're not getting it, they're finding other ways to. So you're looking at schools that probably aren't spending a ton for NIL on players. And they're thinking to themselves, I want a piece of the pie. I'm going to get it another way. But it just, I said this to Tyler last night. There is nothing more anti-American than fixing a sporting event. And that's why you go all the way to the Black Sox. They were banned for life. That was it. And it is just a travesty that this is infiltrating college sports. And we said this initially when the New York investigation happened. It was a tip of the iceberg. It's probably been going on. They can go through third parties. And I know they have apps and people who are monitoring the betting on games, but it's got to be very challenging to catch people. But what were your thoughts after hearing this?
Well, I think, kind of the subject line here, the death of amateur sports, once we have moved officially away from, 3 things have happened. We officially moved away from, as Orgeron says, you go in the back door with the money, and now we go in the front door. That's the first part. Yep. So whatever level of amateurism there was, that's gone. I'm not disagreeing with that, but because some of it was a obviously was it was a myth to a certain extent, but NIL being pay for play and not being really name, image, and likeness creates
They found
another
loopholes
issue,
around it. Yep.
right? They need to be some level of employees, I think. There needs to be collective bargaining. It's not going to happen. I don't know why the schools don't. The schools have zero incentive to make that happen.
Well, because they don't want to negotiate. They don't want union leaders. And if you remember,
it cuts into the income. That's why.
Yeah, exactly. And if you
make okay,
I was just going to say, if you remember, we did a show. We had Coach Lyndon Johnson on, and we had Vinny Marino on. And Lyndon said 10 to 12 years ago, they said they had a meeting and they knew this was going to happen. They knew eventually players were going to be paid.
Yeah, of course.
And they said that they had a chance at that time to put some guardrails on.
When Northwestern filed the lawsuit, it was around
to
like
unionize.
2013 to unionize.
Yep.
That was they knew then. I mean, this wasn't when they filed the lawsuit. It wasn't Northwest. It wasn't. I don't know.
It didn't come out of nowhere.
Campbell.
Like, they knew it was coming.
It wasn't Campbell University where they filed it from. They filed it from Northwestern, right? Probably fairly smart players for the most part.
And Dartmouth, the basketball team, voted to unionize, and I think they ended up unionizing.
Right. So I think that the problem was there wasn't enough money to go around for it to work, but they needed to make a change there. They didn't throw in the transfer portal, which takes away loyalty to the university. So what is the loyalty for most of these players who are only there for a year or two? Like if they can get away with something, right? Yeah. If you get a guy that has bad moral fiber, and there's plenty of players. There's a lot of players that have great moral fiber, but there are plenty of players too that have bad moral fiber. Okay, so those players have that as well, and then you have that, and you throw gambling being legalized everywhere. Sports betting being able to be done anywhere, on any app, at any time, on any game, in any situation. Very, very difficult to regulate. And you got the perfect mix. And so everyone's trying to get paid.
They want theirs. Yeah.
Everybody. So this is a system that's not like corporate where, there's a structure and everyone's paying taxes on it and you got employees. This is a system that's all using contractors essentially, okay, for full-time work.
They're mercenaries. They're they're mercenaries. They're hired guns brought in.
Right, so they're getting full-time work. And so you have that. And then you're right. Like if you could bet on low-level basketball, I don't know how far you can go betting-wise. Can you bet on Division II? I don't know if you can.
You can. Yeah, the sites, some of them let you bet on anything.
Right.
Like we could bet on Maria's team, Wisconsin State women's basketball.
I mean, how easy is that if that's the case, to be able to fix? And then the other thing is that now you got the players are allowed to bet as athletes as long as it's not their sport, correct? So,
well, they're technically not supposed to bet on college sports. They can bet on pro sports.
But yeah,
you can't monitor it.
It's only when it's going to be brought to your attention, which is obviously what happened here. When the scam is so widespread, like it was here with you start to uncover a bunch of things. But that's why you had mentioned like Fordham and Buffalo and all these.
Yeah, it's the schools that aren't. You're not seeing any Power 4 schools on here. It's the schools that are lower level Division I basketball programs that the players aren't getting the massive NIL money. So they want to get it another way. And I mean, it was admitted. it was admitted that the scheme was the bribe payments would meaningfully supplement or exceed legitimate NIL opportunities. So they're supplementing NIL opportunities that they're not getting at an Alabama State or a Kennesaw State or a North Carolina A&T. And they're seeing other players making millions. So they're thinking to themselves, what the hell? I'm playing Division I basketball. I'm not getting anything. So I'm going to find a way to get paid. And that's what bothers me the most. And Charlie Baker, I think he is useless. He kowtows to anyone who files a waiver to get another year of eligibility. I know Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback at Ole Miss, he's trying to get away. His waiver was denied, but he's appealing it because he said, he played at Ferris State. So his value has never been higher, and he's missing out if he doesn't get another year of eligibility on maximizing his value, his income. So that's what bothers me is, the Power Four schools have the money from the broadcasting contracts, licensing, merchandising, and putting asses in the seats. These other schools, they don't. And these kids, I just think, I know from myself, I knew that you're going to watch this as a player and you're going to see other players getting paid, even on your own team, and jealousy is going to ensue. And you're going to say, oh, well, why he's getting this, I'm only getting this. And now you're seeing kids from schools who probably aren't getting much at all. They're supplementing their income. They're saying, you know what? They're not going to pay us. We'll control it ourselves. And we don't care as much about winning or losing. We care about them. Money rules the world. We care about the Benjamins.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the, it's all of those things are a perfect storm as far as from amateurism goes, and it's created this avenue where they're pro athletes, but they're not.
They refuse to call them that. Yes.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's always been an issue, even when there was amateurism.
Yes.
Let's go back to Jim Thorpe. Okay. Jim Thorpe got his Olympic medals removed for like 60 years because he had played pro baseball before the Olympics, right?
Yep.
So was paid to play pro baseball, right? So I mean, there was these issues even 100 years ago, but basically it was never challenged in court. And there's multiple instances of that. If you go throughout time, but that was the most famous one for a very long time was Jim Thorpe, right? These things with gambling, I don't know what the solution is. Like, I don't know, short of, like, you could say, okay, you outlaw the athletes from being able to gamble at all. See what happens.
I just think they'll use a third party.
Well, I think what happens is that some of the things that used to live legal wise were not actually illegal. It's just no one challenged it. So I use this as an example.
Everyone had bookies. Yeah.
A long time, there were certain states, when I was running my camps and stuff, there were certain states that didn't allow kids to go to showcases, to combines and stuff. Okay. And
really?
in certain states like Ohio didn't allow you to go to 7-on-7, do 7-on-7. I don't know if Ohio's still like that, but I used to tell the parents just
who's going to show up? Yeah,
right to sue them because they can't win. That you can't you can't take away somebody's opportunity. So they can't.
There's no way.
But most people don't bother to do it. So it wasn't until you got a situation where lawyers were wealthy enough, which is obviously there's always been wealthy lawyers, but lawyers have enough security in their own jobs that they're willing to take on.
They took it on a contingency, the House versus NCAA, and got the $2.8 billion settlement.
Correct.
That went back to paying players from 2016 on, and now allows them the school to directly pay players.
Right. So that's exactly the point. So I would say up until maybe 30 years ago, most lawyers that went on contingency were really just lawyers that were representing people with injury attorneys, right? Most of the time, most of the contingency stuff you see and the wealth is
personal injury. Yes.
But that expanded to things like this, right? And when that expanded to this and they realized they could, take on a lawsuit that might take 3 years and there's a payoff at the end, they were more willing to do that. I don't think they were willing to do that, now that lawyers are willing to do it, now what you're seeing is that some of these things that were put on place by these organizations were not actually legal. We're not actually legal rules, right? Because each state has their own rule. The federal government has its own rules. So they weren't actually legal. And when they're not actually legal and you have rules, that's where it starts to get like dicey, right? And that's what's happened now in college football. Listen, if you really wanted to, not that you would, but there are people that would probably. If someone saw a 10-year-old that they thought, in Europe they do this already, a 10-year-old that's some great soccer player, in Europe, he's taken care of all the way through. I saw the David Beckham story on I think it was Netflix, maybe.
Yeah, it was on Netflix.
It's great, actually. It really gives you an understanding of how the rest of the world really approaches sports. America was unique in that sports went through the scholastic system.
Yes.
And because it went through the scholastic system, there was a level of amateurism to it.
Amateurism, yes.
That went away a long time ago in Europe, okay? And with soccer, when, you took like a David Beckham, and he's a superstar at 10, you sign him to a contract at 14. He's in your minor league system, plays in a couple of real pro games, and you groom him to be in your actual pro system. That's how most of Europe works in football. Not football, basketball and soccer.
Right.
So and probably I'm trying to think of other sports that are really big. Maybe track and field might be like that in Europe. Track and field's pretty big in Europe, like other sports like that. Tennis, right? Any of those kind of sports where they can kind of. And so what happens is now the United States, where you've mixed all this together, kind of like it's half a European model, but not, it's like.
Yeah, they kind of
schools, but it's not,
threw it together, and they didn't have a plan, is what blows my mind. Like they just said, okay, we'll pay players, but NIL, but we're not putting any rules around it. And that's why we're seeing so many kids transferring. And we looked at it, and it was I was on the show with Julius. There were over 10,000 kids in the portal, and I think he said he from what he checked, it was maybe close to 3,000 had been signed.
There's 10,000 plus football players in the portal.
Yes, and like 3,000 have been signed.
Okay.
And that's what's crazy to me. And I know they have time from now until next season to get signed. but this is when they take visits. This is when most of the teams sign their kids. And it's
a lot of
just,
them are going to be 5,000 of them at least are going to be just out of luck.
yes. Yeah. 100%.
Never play again.
100%.
You know what I looked at? I was doing something last night. I was starting to feel a little better. And I started looking up some of the players that were after my big window, like the big growth window when we had all the superstar kids come through for about 10 years. The second window, which was like 2018 till now, the overwhelming, I was shocked to see the overwhelming majority of the kids who did really well at our camps, overwhelming majority of them are not playing.
They're not playing anymore. Yeah, I saw that too.
A lot of them went on to a place, but they didn't end up playing, or they were there a year or two, and I don't know if they, it's just hard to find info. They might have put themselves in the transfer portal and then they were done. I don't know. That part is shocking. Like if I, and
they don't live up to the expectations.
I wish I saved all the data of all the players that came through. Of all time, like that are registered. And I bet if I went through it, like of all the kids that were award winners from like the time period of 2005 to 2000, maybe 16, 17, I would say a higher percentage of them played all the way through. If I were to take 2018 to now, I would say a higher percentage of them did not make it all the way through.
Yeah. Yeah. No, they showed some of the top 4-star, 5-star recruits that were rated by Rivals or whatever, and so many of them flamed out after 1 or 2 years. And it's just crazy how either they get it wrong or the kids have a bad experience and they leave. Like you and I
saw someone say that, they're getting it wrong. It's the system's flawed. I'm sure there is some obviously errors that they make, when you're evaluating them. Because there's two things. Number one, there are more errors made, and I'll tell you why. There is no system like what I was running anymore. So I used to run a system that was 100 events. We see 20,000 plus kids, and I was the only one doing it. And as became a lot of local camps, you have less information on who the players are. So the more you get less information on the players, the more you have a problem. So the lack of real information on the players becomes a problem. The second thing is that I think that they get it wrong. I don't know if they get it wrong, but I think that more of it is that the players that are 5-stars are not looked at the way that they were looked at 10 years ago as a 5-star. You know what I mean? Like if you're a 5-star and you come in, most of them are not ready. Most of them are not Jeremiah Smith. Okay.
No.
So they're not ready. They're not ready to go. And what happens is they get disenchanted too quickly. And
they do if they're not playing. Yep.
They transfer, they pack it in, they get bad advice. I mean, Dylan Raiola going to Oregon.
That blew my mind. I mean, he's the starter in Nebraska.
He's going to sit behind Dante Moore.
Yeah. Why would you do that? I didn't get that. He's
how about LSU? Did you see LSU? They took 3 quarterbacks in the portal.
No, I did not. I did not see that.
3 quarterbacks. So Kiffin took 3 guys. Okay. So what
doesn't he have Nussmeier too?
Nussmeier supposedly he's trying to run out, I guess. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I see. Okay, so they got Husan Longstreet transferring from USC to LSU. He's got 4 years remaining. Wow. So he didn't play last year. He flipped from A&M to USC during his recruitment. He was a backup, and I mean he's a pocket passer. Wow. And then I still can't believe some of these kids, like Alonzo Barnett III, transferring from James Madison to UCF. He was the Sun Belt Player of the Year. He led JMU to the title in the college football playoff. I mean, I get it because his coach left, but with 1 year remaining, I mean, I just why are you leaving? And then
got paid more. You got paid more, obviously.
I know it's all about the money. It's all about the money. But just looking at the quarterbacks, it's a domino effect with the quarterbacks of who goes where, and it changes everyone's starters around. And you're seeing it. I mean, Auburn's got a kid coming in from UNLV. Wisconsin, North Carolina's got a kid coming from Wisconsin because the kid they had from South Alabama last year didn't work out. And, we talked about the Harvard kid. The Harvard kid, I believe, is still going to TCU, and he was one of the highest rated kids in the portal. But, and then, Ole Miss got a quarterback from Auburn, and they got a quarterback. The former starter, Austin Simmons, he's leaving Ole Miss to go to Missouri. And our friend Nick Evers is going to Missouri. He got signed by Missouri. Jaden Craig from Harvard officially ended up at TCU. He was the one from Harvard who we thought was very good. This was, kind of surprising. CJ Carr became the guy at Notre Dame. So Kenny Minchie is transferring from Notre Dame to Kentucky. He's got 2 years of eligibility left. So it's interesting to see the guys that are being taken off the board at the different positions. And you're looking at, some of the best in the portal that they have to offer. But again, it's the NCAA made the portal 15 days because they thought it would deter kids from going in it, and it would help keep them at their school. And then making it only one window. They thought
it just makes it more kids that end up nowhere.
That's the thing. It made kids have to rush their decisions. They all went in the portal, and now there's no summer portal. So you're going to be looking from now until August for thousands of kids remaining unsigned. And, that was the one thing Julius talked about was, he's got several kids that he has worked with that have offers and haven't signed yet. And he's like, you better sign. He's like, don't wait. He's like, they're gonna replace you. They're gonna replace you. They're not gonna wait around and put up with this because they don't have a choice. You don't have all the time in the world to do this. So it's just crazy to me seeing 10,000 kids thinking the grass is greener on the other side and going into the portal. And even UConn, I mean, we've taken a lot of Toledo kids. We were lucky to get the kid from Texas, but the kids who left UConn all ended up in better places. I mean, Cam Edwards going to Michigan State, impressive. Chadwick going to Virginia Tech. Impressive. I mean, and then you have Mora, who took several players to Colorado State, Mel Brown, Juice Vereen, and, Victor Rosa going to Ohio. And the one that surprised me was the quarterback, Sorsby. He was
$5 million he got.
He was at Cincinnati, and he goes to Texas Tech. He's a redshirt junior. He was phenomenal last year. He threw for over 5,600 passing yards, and he rushed for over 1,000 yards in 2 seasons with Cincinnati, 63 touchdowns. He was a top 10 QB this season, and they had a 7-1 start. They were ranked number 17 in the polls. He finished the year with 3,300 yards passing, 36 touchdowns, only 5 interceptions. He could have entered the draft, but because he's getting paid so much money to stay in college, why wouldn't you? And, Texas Tech is the one that opens up their checkbook. They say, hey, we want the best team. We're going to pay for it. And that's what has kind of deterred me from, loving college football as much, because in my mind, these are all mercenaries. They're hired guns. They're brought in just to be paid to do a job. It's not, the loyalty and the love for your university anymore. It's all about the money. And, when I had Belcour and Kozlowski on, Kozlowski was talking about it.
I watched that episode. I watched it.
Yeah. I mean, Koz didn't care about money.
Yeah. So it's a totally different era, though. I don't think it's fair to go back and say what I did then is the same as what you would have did if you were coming through now. People are
Correct.
A product of the environment.
Yeah, the era.
In, right?
Yes.
The era they're in. You got guys like Mendoza, who obviously is a great kid. I mean, transferred in Indiana. He's a great kid. It works out. But there's a lot. It's the bigger issue is this with the system. It's anything that's allowed. Okay, anything that's allowed is going to get done. Okay, and what's crazy is because of the whole because of gambling and everything like that, it's not just what's allowed, it's what people think they deserve. That's the problem. So people are like, I deserve this. You know what I mean? Yeah. I deserve that, and I didn't get it. But
Dave, you also said this, and Belcour and Koz.
It's crazy to me. Yeah, I'm sorry.
That it's parents and the people around them that are not. These are kids, 20-year-old kids.
True.
And they're not getting guidance and advice from the adults. That's what I think is missing, and what is the sad part. The adults around them are not doing what's in the best interest of these kids, even the so-called agents.
Well, I think part of it is it's part agent, it's part
a lot of agents with inexperience too.
Well, there's no certification. There's no certification as an agent in college. In the NFL, you got to be a certified agent.
Exactly.
So
that I was telling Burton today. Burton was pissed this morning. We were talking. I said my dog could be an NIL agent.
Absolutely could. Your dog could 100% be an NIL agent.
Yeah.
Mark 3 times. You got a contract.
Like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's I think that's I think that's a huge part of it is that again, there's a lot of things that they could see. I think you could put that in place, but the only reason the NFL has that put in place is because they have collective bargaining.
The CBA and the players union.
So that
Yes.
means that requires a certified agent. Without a CBA, you're not going to require a certified agent. Now, each individual state has laws as to how if you can represent them, but there are some states that you don't have to have an agent's license.
Even for the NFL?
Yes. So you have to have an NFL agent's license to represent players.
Okay.
I'm saying most states require you to also file with the state if you represent people.
Oh, I got you. Okay.
So all they have to do right now, most of the places, is file with their, for example, Texas. You pay $500. That's what it used to be. Pay $500. You apply to be a state agent. You give your qualifications. You're in. Now, there are some states which don't even require state registration. See what I'm saying?
Right.
So now they
Right.
don't have to register with the state. So, the NFL, you have two things. You got to register with the state and the NFL. It's
And the other thing is the college kids normally get screwed because the agents take 20% usually. Whereas the NFL, they take 3%.
I agree that it's an egregious amount. But here's what I don't think. If there's no rule as to what you could take, you take whatever you want. If they agree to it, it's capitalism.
Take it, absolutely.
If they agree to 20%,
yeah, absolutely.
Now in some cases, guys are getting them.
If that's their fee, that's their fee.
Yeah, some guys might be taking 10% and they're getting a player $100,000 or $200,000 more. That might be worth it to give him 10% if he's that good. So, but the issue is that a lot of these guys are just saying jump out into the portal. So if you look at, and I don't try to follow too much from Europe, but if you look at like the European model with like pro sports, the colleges, all the sports are club sports.
Yes.
So it's not,
yes.
So you play
rugby. It's like AAU almost.
No, it's not AAU. It's club within the university. So universities have.
Okay.
Yeah. No, they have a regular AAU model, which is the pro teams down. Okay.
Oh, okay.
But the colleges, let's say you want to play rugby for Cambridge, or Oxford University.
It's technically a club team.
Part of the college is a club thing. Nobody's getting paid. The guys who are really good might attend Oxford as a student, but they play rugby for a club. Make sense?
Okay.
Play rugby for a pro club, not a university club.
Right.
So,
okay.
So that's why
that's a big difference.
It's a big difference. So it's like that would be a totally different model than what we have in the United States. So everything would just be from the pro top down. Like, so the Giants, if you did what Europe did in football, it would be the Giants would not just have their team. They would have a minor league team. They would have what you would call a high school team. They would have youth teams all in the Giants system.
Right. All the way up.
All players would go through the Giants system. That's our model is different. And that's where it gets all convoluted into the way that it is now. Not that listen, if I was a player coming through now and I had good advice and I had good parents and you were that good, you could actually, if you're smart, you could really do really well in the system.
Yeah. No, you can. You can. It's just
a lot of the players that aren't that bright for whatever reason or don't have experience, they're the ones that are getting themselves in some really bad situations.
And it's a red flag to me if a kid is a 2-time transfer or going on his third school.
Right.
It just seems like You're chasing something. You're chasing the money, or you're
There's one guy that
chasing.
has gone to
You're
7.
insecure, or it's just like I don't get that. Like I wouldn't, as a coach, I would stay away from a kid like that. And I know we lucked out with Skylar Bell. We were his third school.
Right.
And, Evers, we were his third school. Didn't work out for him. He's going on to a sports school.
It looks like Mensa. You know Mensa from Duke?
Yeah.
The portal closes today, right?
It's the last day, yes.
As of midnight last night, there's word that Mensa may enter the portal.
Enter the portal. Holy shit.
That comes to you straight from portalintel.ai.
Yes, the best system around. Yes, the best system around. Yes, it is the best system around. But I mean, the betting thing, the gambling thing, to me, the NCAA asked a federal regulatory body Wednesday to stop prediction markets from offering trades on college sports until safeguards are in place. So the predictions are basically you can predict if a player is going to transfer or not. And that is
really?
that's crazy to me. Yeah. And a lot of prediction markets don't have the integrity concerns, the monitoring system for it. And the NCAA is willing to work with them on it, but they are really, really popular. The prediction markets offer what anyone can see as an unregulated betting on college games. And, Charlie Baker has been fighting this tooth and nail. He's asked for federal intervention, and it's clear the government is not getting involved. They had the SCORE Act, which didn't even make it to the floor on Congress.
Right.
And, traditional sports books operate in 39 states and DC. The betting age is 21. But prediction markets are available in all 50 states to users 18 and older. So, and this allows the prediction markers, they allow users to trade on a yes or no outcome of an event. So it's not like a point system or anything like that. Yes or no, you can bet on just about anything. Like, is Dylan Raiola going to throw for, is he going to have 5 completions in the first quarter? Yes or no? And he said that, these types of bets have been very, very popular. And, Baker also said they need safeguards, the age restrictions we talked about. There's too much advertising. There's no monitoring involvement. National governing bodies such as the NCAA can't do it. There's no restrictions on prop bets, which are huge, and harm reduction resources and anti-harassment measures, because players get harassed if someone doesn't get their bet or whatever. Players get harassed all the time. And obviously social media, as we talked about, is huge for that. Social media kills you. So,
yeah.
No, I mean, I just think you're right. It's the death of amateurism in college sports. It's not going to get any better. We've jumped the shark. You can't put the toothpaste back in the bottle. We've allowed this to come so far, you can't, and they tried to pass a law where there would be revenue sharing throughout all the conferences, and they would have a regulatory committee that would be the governing body, and whatever they said what was law. If they suspended a school or a player, the school had to abide by it, and they passed it out to all the schools, and nobody signed it.
If Joe Fagnano had another year of eligibility, he would be paid $4 or $5 million this year to play.
I don't think he would, but
100% would.
I think he'd be paid maybe in the seven figures,
$1 million.
Low, maybe $1 million.
I think,
but I just don't think because of the competition we played against, I don't know that it translates. But yeah, I mean, you're seeing quarterbacks from lower level schools who have moved up. The quarterback? Yeah, the quarterback from South Florida. He went to Auburn. He got a boatload of money. We had the what was the quarterback from? Oh, the quarterback from Missouri, the quarterback from North Texas who transferred. He got a boatload of money. We just took a quarterback transfer from Tennessee at UConn. So I think that's good for us. I think Candle did a good job in the portal, but this is a new reality. And, it's, and just talking with Burton, he's so disenchanted by it because he was close with that team for the last 2 years. I mean, he helped put together that team. He paid for that team. And they all left. And he's like, I'm not being involved in much. I'm not getting, emotionally attached to these kids because it's not the same. They don't have the same feelings about this. They'll leave in a heartbeat. It's just about, what am I getting? What am I worth? And he just, he did it for 3 years and it just wore him out. And it's like, for these teams to continue to have success, you're looking at boosters putting in millions upon millions of dollars year in and year out.
You saw Cal Berkeley brought in Ron Rivera, right?
I did not see that.
He's the GM for Cal Berkeley.
Wow.
So we've talked about this a lot, about the high academic schools, and we've kind of like Tyler might call it the Mossad here, but the high academic schools like Stanford and Cal, very high academic schools. They've been slowly getting their ducks in a row. If you notice, like, they're not rushing it; they're getting their ducks.
They're putting a plan together. They can just jump in and take over whenever they want.
Right? They're almost like those Silicon Valley guys are waiting till they have all their ducks in a row, get the right guys
moment.
In place. Andrew Luck, Ron Rivera, guys who could pick up a phone and talk to a billionaire and say, hey, it's worthwhile getting involved here. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's interesting. Listen, there's no doubt Texas Tech has done that already. And this is why the SEC is struggling a little bit. Indiana has Mark Cuban. Michigan has Larry Ellison. Okay. These groups are one by one getting their ducks in a row with GMs that can make phone calls, okay, to high level guys. So if you think about it, you want, Ron Rivera obviously was an NFL coach, right? And
Yes.
for Ron Rivera to go to Cal doesn't mean he's not going to go back to the pros at some point, but just they must have made it very worth his while, don't you think? For him to
Yeah,
go to,
of course.
to be the GM, they had to make it worth his while. And it's easy to make it worth his while. I could go and say to you, Steve Culley, let's say Steve Culley was a big name. And
I am a big name, but thank you.
Yes. And let's say you were a big name, like you were a coach in the NFL, or you were a star NFL player, and you come back to your alma mater like UConn. And I go to you and I say, listen, you're going to be the GM. You're going to get $1 million a year, which is not anywhere close to what you used to make, but you're going to get 20% of all the money that comes in, or 10% of all the money that it's probably going to be 10% or less. Maybe it's less, whatever it is. 10% of all the fundraising you make. So
Right.
think about that. You raise $100 million. What is that? What does Ron Rivera now make? $10 million.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
And it's worth it for you, because these aren't guys that are like you're begging some poor guy to give you his pennies. Okay. You're begging a billionaire who just has to say, I'm going to give you the money, versus giving this charity the money. You know what I'm saying? Because they're giving the billionaires are giving their money away, a certain amount of it every year anyway, right? Tax purposes, whatever. So now you're getting them to say, I'm going to give it here versus there.
Right. Exactly.
It's a home run.
But I mean, it just the way that everything has happened over the last few years, it is just so disheartening to see how college sports it ceases to exist. It's pro sports, it's the transfer portal, it's all about what can you do for me, how much are you going to pay me. For Dylan Raiola to leave a starting job at Nebraska to go back up at Oregon, I mean, that shows me he doesn't care about playing. He brought Nebraska to their first bowl game since 2016. And he leaves without thinking twice, just because he's getting a bag of money from Oregon. And I get it's financial, it's generational wealth, it's all that. It's money that, if they invest it right, can set them up for a great start in life.
Dylan Raiola's father coaches.
No, I know. I know his father. His father was the center, right, for the Lions, Dominic Raiola.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I just, it's really sad to me to see how bad things are getting. And I think it's going to get much, much worse before it gets better. Like I don't, it's going to take more scandals like this with, gambling, players, shaving points.
That might be where
and doing it in other sports. That's it. Yeah.
If it becomes rampant, like uncontrollable,
and I think it will be. Because
that could be where they step in. That could be.
Look at the schools that it happened to. It's happening to the schools that are Division I schools that aren't paying their players. So the kids are like, what do I have to lose? I want to get paid.
Of course.
So it's just sad to me, and it really is the death of amateur sports. It's not coming back. They need to. I wouldn't even call it college sports anymore, because it's not. and there's no solution.
Pro sports.
There's no solution. It's just going to get worse. It's fun to watch on a certain level, but it's not. I don't like the disloyalty because, there's something said about fighting through adversity. If you're not playing, you work harder, you train harder, you do what it takes to get on the field. You don't leave
you want to
and tuck
actually,
your tail
if you think about
between your
this,
legs.
though, if you think about this, there's a lot of blame to go around. And I don't know if the blame really goes to the athlete. So
no, I blame the NCAA for allowing this.
Well, no, I would go even deeper than that. If you go, just because I'm in youth sports with my son and stuff, if you go all the way down to high school and even youth sports, okay, the system that's set up from the time they're young is one that there's a mix between good programs and bad programs, okay? And in the old days, if you were stuck in a bad program, for example, I went to my senior year, my high school team was 1-8, okay? Like, I would have never even thought to, like, go somewhere else, you know what I mean? Like, it really didn't go through my head. The town next door to me, the only reason I even thought about it was because the town next to me went to the state championship, and the coach used to always tease me because I lived right next to him, and he would be like, "You should be over here," and I was like, I never thought about it at all, you know what I mean? Because I grew up. So in the old days, you were wherever your school was, wherever your town was, that's what you did, even travel sports. Once that moved out of that, it was inevitable that it would become that kind of a situation. And part of it to blame is the overall scholastic system. Okay?
Yeah,
Part of it.
It is. And the
Right?
money.
If you think about the scholastic system, public schools, okay? Public schools hire a coach that is a teacher, okay? There are
Yes.
a lot of phenomenal coaches that are teachers. There are a lot of phenomenal coaches that would not be teachers. That was kind of the old model, okay? But you boxed out those coaches. So those coaches then went and formed AAU or whatever it is, right? But they still, for the most part, were better coaches. Then what happened was the public schools harassed coaches. Okay,
Yes.
a lot of coaches. Like, if you look at the bad programs, a lot of the bad programs have bad administrations. Okay, in high school, and when that happened, you started to get good coaches leave the system. When good coaches leave the system, parents start to see that and say, I'm going to take my kid over here. I'm going to take my kid over there. There used to be middle school sports. Middle school sports mostly went away because kids started playing club sports. It's just a whole trickle-down effect.
Yeah, it is.
Okay?
No, it is.
Coaches started to get paid a lot at the collegiate level. All right? A lot. Like, over it. Then people
they're an institution.
They were getting so much more money than everybody else that people said, wait a minute, why is a coach getting $8 million and the players make $0? Right? So these things started to happen, and nobody along the way said, we need to reconstruct our standards within
our
the
model.
system.
Yes. They could have got ahead of it.
Nobody got ahead of it. Everybody operated in their own silo. NCAA operated in their silo. The high schools operated in their silo. Parochial schools operates in their silo. The NFL operates in their silo. All the pro teams operate in their own silos. Okay? And that's what happened. The reason why Major League does not have a problem is because they have the farm system.
The farm system, yeah. And you get drafted out of high school.
Hockey doesn't have that problem either for the same reason.
Juniors. You can play juniors, yep. You paid out of high school. So we fucked it up.
Yeah, so because of that, and they constructed a multi-tier system where you can still get into the pros, meaning you can get into the pros out of high school in baseball. Same thing in hockey. You could if you become a pro and it doesn't work out, you could go back to college as a student. They usually pay for your student, right?
They do. Yeah. Yes.
You
You're
decide
allowed
to
to pay. You're allowed to play juniors and go back and play. You're allowed to play in the minors and go to college. Yes.
Correct. So that the other part is people then, if you're not good enough to make the pros out of high school in baseball, you go to college.
You do.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then after your third year, you can come out, right?
Correct.
Okay. I think they might have moved up to second year, but whatever the year, right? So you could come out again early, right? So they have multiple stages for players to go in and out. Now, you could argue that it places a lot of stress on the college system and the high school system, which it does. But you know the system.
You do.
You don't know the system in college football. You don't know what the system is.
And it's constantly changing. No
high school player knows what the system is. So in baseball, you still kind of know whether you like the AAU system or not. In baseball, you kind of know what the path is. This is the path. You could do this. You can do that. Okay. Doesn't mean you agree with it. All right. There's a lot of things you could disagree with, but you know what the paths are. If you're an athlete coming up in football, the only path is high school to college.
Yeah, that's it.
And if you can't go high school to college, you're screwed.
You are.
Which creates this mercenary attitude for the better players.
Which is where we're at. And that is the death of amateur sports as we know it. And it's only going to get worse. So, David, great show. I hope you feel better. We're going to do a watch along Monday night at Tony's Pizza. I'm going to set up there. We're going to have some good guests on. Guys will jump on and off. And it's going to be a blast. And then we'll go from there. But this has been Bloodlines and Betrayals. And there's a lot of betrayal. Remember, when life gives you lemons, don't make lemonade. Take 2 oranges, throw them back at life. And remember, I'm Steve Cully, and I'm running for Congress.